have something for you.
So let's do this.
Hey everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Quad Damage Podcast. I think we're on number, insert correct number.
36, I think this is.
This guy. Woo-hoo. Still going. Can't get rid of us yet. And if you didn't know, I'm Midnight Medium, or just Medium for short, joined by none other than Robert.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy. Unfortunately, Deadforge couldn't join us for this particular episode, but he is here in spirit. And as you might know, and might be able to see, we have a special guest today. You might know him as Zlim, or just the connoisseur of meatballs and macaroni, the sexy Swede, or even the winner of the Lex Luthor lookalike competition if he wasn't so damn lovable. I give you ZlimBratSki.
Holy macaronis, I'm actually here.
And now that we're all gathered here, let's get
booming.
Booming.
Welcome. We finally snagged you.
Yes,
You did.
we
You did.
Yeah. It's about damn time. Zlim
All it
is a
took
hard man
was
to pin down.
Death threats
Yeah.
and financial intimidation.
Turning up at your house.
It's actually a pleasure to be here. A real pleasure.
Appreciate it, my man. So, Zlim, obviously we know who you are, but some of our viewers may not. We just know you as one of the hardest working guys in the industry as it is right now in the boomer shooter scene. So why don't you just give the viewers a little bit of a background on, how you got started in YouTube, where ZlimBratSki comes from and all that sort of thing. Just give us the lowdown on your background, buddy.
All right, sure. So my real name is Jimmy, which makes short for Slim. And let me start with the name. How did I come up with the freaking name that I'm using? ZlimBratSki. So many people have a hard time pronouncing it, but just let it roll out. Don't think about it too much. Just ZlimBratSki.
ZlimBratSki.
Yeah.
ZlimBratSki.
So many people go Bratski. No, just Bratsky.
It's like pillow talk, isn't it? Hey, baby, ZlimBratSki.
Exactly. Yeah. So that weird name. It's actually, I'm from Sweden. I live in Sweden. I was born and raised in Sweden, but my mom is actually Serbian, and that's where Bratsky comes from. It's my Swedish friend. They thought it was funny to make, a slang word for brate, which is brother in Swedish, in Serbian. So they came up with Bratsky, and so ZlimBratSki was just born out of that, and then I started using it when I was like 15, and it just stuck with me. And I made this YouTube channel like 12 years ago or something. So
What?
that name was actual then. Yeah. It was like the thing then. Everyone was calling me ZlimBratSki. Yeah, so it just stuck around. But I did not start making videos 12 years ago. No. This is, the account that I used to watch YouTube with. And yeah, I was born and raised in Stockholm, which is the capital city, and I've always been into gaming. Always. But I've been playing a lot of console back in the days, a lot of Xbox, a lot of PlayStation. Yeah. And then one day, my friend was like, "Hey man, we could do horror recordings. We could record ourselves playing horror games. It would be fun as hell." I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So there is actually a hidden YouTube channel out there called Horror Friends with a C, said. And that's how it all started. And this was like 6 years ago or something. No, maybe 8 years ago actually. And I didn't have any kids then. I didn't have any wife. And then I actually moved town thanks to work, which meant I moved away from that friend, which meant that we couldn't make any more recordings. So life just went on and we didn't make any recordings, and I got kids and all that kind of stuff. And I was actually doing good at work as well. So I had no plans at starting streaming or making videos or anything like that. But then when the kids came, I was like, damn, my wallet is getting thin. What am I gonna do? They cost a lot of money. So I was like, damn it, let's try streaming. Let's just try how it is streaming. I had never streamed before. We only made those horror videos. It was like short montages. They're really, really bad. So I was like, screw it. I'm gonna start streaming. And my friend who I did the videos with, he joined in. So we kind of did like co-op streams playing horror games.
Yeah.
And we started on Facebook.
What?
Hell yeah.
That juggernaut of gaming, Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
Was this for like Farmville? I think I remember that being everywhere on
Mafia
Facebook. People were
Wars.
messaging me to help them out. Yeah, it's amazing how big it is, though. You know, but even but like Apple makes more money from gaming than like Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation together, just
crazy.
because the money they make off mobile gaming.
Yeah. And
So how did you?
It's growing. Facebook gaming is it's a thing. It's there.
Yeah.
It's somewhat established, but it isn't really my jam. And Facebook is mostly moms and dads nowadays. So it's yeah.
It's the photo album.
The
you can
old
catch up on
person one.
sometimes.
Yeah. So I was like, nah, this isn't really working. Let's try Twitch. So I went to Twitch and I kept on doing horror streams, and I absolutely hate horror games. I absolutely hate horror games. Never ever play a horror game without streaming. Not a chance. But yeah, and that's what makes them funny as well. Because if someone was gonna come next to me here, I would jump. I would instantly jump. I jump from all the cheap jump scares, everything, and it's not like I'm putting on an act or anything. I scare super easily, like really easily. So when I was I did Twitch for a while, like maybe 1.5 years or something, and it actually went well. I met a couple of cool people in there, but eventually I was like, I can't keep on doing this because I'm not having fun with these games. These games are not for me. I'm only doing this for entertainment, and I mean, I can't be working 2 jobs that I absolutely hate. So it's not going to work out. So I decided to start making videos on games that I actually do enjoy, and I've just started off making, recording myself playing, and that was it went not so well. And then eventually I was like, boomer shooters, because I actually got an email from Fulcrum Publishing. They were like, hey, we got this game, it's dropping into 1.0, do you want to check it out? It was Dread Templar. So that means
You went
actually,
straight to the top.
Yeah, it's not actually that far ago since I started boomer shooters. Dread Templar was my entry game into the subgenre, which it was like, I don't know how long it was now, maybe 1.5, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I made a review of it, which is one of my first reviews. It's really poor. Don't go and watch that. I might just make it private after this.
You're gonna get a surge of views to it now.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. The game is super good. I recommend the game to anyone. It was for me the perfect entry into the subgenre. It has the heavy metal music, it has the fast speed, it has the guns, it has upgrades, the secrets, everything. All the right ingredients are there for a good boomer shooter. So that piqued my interest. I started investigating more and more and more, and I played more and more and more and more, and eventually I made like a top 30 upcoming boomer shooter games list video, and that blew up. It is my most viewed video ever. It has over 100,000 views right now, which to some, that's like small potatoes, but to me that's big potatoes.
Yeah.
And that video made me realize, like, I got something going here. I'm gonna stick to this. And now we're here. Now I try to branch out a bit more with more indie shooters,
I've
not
noticed,
just boomer shooters. Yeah. But
so one could say that Dread Templar was the fulcrum point of your career.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
You will never have me telling you not to make more bad jokes. It's a test. If someone laughs, then they're good people. If they don't, they're like, try again. I'm like, I'm not sure about this person.
The odd thing, Zlim, is that I don't remember when I started following you. I don't remember anything that I first said to you when we first came. You seem like, in my eyes, that you've always been there. So it's kind of odd, that you're so recent in taking on this boomer shooter thing. And as you mentioned, you are branching out, of course, past boomer shooters into indies and stuff.
Yeah.
But did you get into the boomer shooter scene literally because Fulcrum sent you the key, you enjoyed the game, and then suddenly it kind of opened your eyes to a new genre? Or were you looking at boomer shooters before they came along, and then that was like the switching point of, this is my choice of content now?
No, it was 100% my entry ticket into the subgenre because, as I said previously, I gamed a lot of console games, and there is starting to pop up a few boomer shooters on consoles, but back then there was none. It was nothing. So I barely even knew of the subgenre before this. And when I started gaming on PC, when I started streaming and so on, it was just merely horror games, just for entertainment purpose. I wasn't enjoying myself, but that was everything that I was looking at. And then all of a sudden that email came. I don't know how they found me because I had literally like 30 views on my videos. I don't know where they came from. I have no idea, but it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
They saw potential.
Yeah.
I had one question.
Well, that's
unless I'm mistaken, this isn't to call you out or anything. I'm actually genuinely interested. You actually kind of skipped all the retro games in a way and went straight to boomer shooters, right? Like you weren't sitting there going, "Oh, I love these games. Now I got to play the newer versions," right? So you've
no.
backdoored into it.
So you never played OG Doom, you never played BioShock, Fear, any of that stuff. You just went straight into
a few of them, but I did play OG Doom back in the day when I was like maybe 5 years old. So to me that was pure horror game. Yeah. So I think I made it maybe to level 2 or 3 tops, and then I was like, no shit, this is too much. I will not be able to sleep for 3 weeks after this. But I did play a few of them, but I never played Blood back in the day. I never played Killing Time that just got remastered. None of them. And it's actually funny because in my streams, people ask me, "Hey, what do you think about this game?" I'm like,
You just be like, "Love it."
Yeah. I just laugh it off and hope that nobody notices. But speaking of horror games, of course, we are showcasing Reaper today, and Reaper is somewhat special to you, of course. The audience that hasn't bought the game yet or doesn't know anything about the game, you may not actually know that Zlim is in the game, as is our co-host, Deadforge. He's one of the villains in there. Zlim is one of the bosses in there. And he bust me up the first time I got to him. I was so preoccupied with the fact that I'm fighting ZlimBratSki in a video game that I literally just stood there taking hits. and I got Netherrealm straight away. The second time I went there and I bust some skulls, man. So yeah, sorry about that, buddy. I came in prepared.
I feel a part of my soul leaving when you killed me.
I felt really tired of that, actually.
How did you get involved with the Reaper game?
Actually, since I cover a lot of indie games, indie shooters is my focus. There is like the thing with covering indie games is that you get a special connection with the developers, and that's part of the thing that I really love. And DOSManGames, which is the developer of Reaper, they reached out with their first game, which was like a year ago or something, and just that way we kind of got a connection, and we have been talking since then. Even though I didn't even play his first game, we just kept on talking. It's a really cool guy behind it all. I don't know if he wants me to put his real name out there, but DOSManGames, a really cool developer, and just as with many other indie developers out there, the talks just keeps on going, even though there isn't a new game coming or anything. We just talk about anything, and that's the case for DOSManGames here. And one day he was like, "Hey, I'm working on this new game. Do you want to record a voice line for it? I'm gonna put you in." Like, hell yeah, hell yeah. And this is actually a reoccurring thing now. You can find me in many games and in a couple
Really?
more upcoming games as well.
You're gonna
You're
have to
gonna
have your
see
team list.
yeah. You're gonna see I don't know if you catched my indie FPS summer showcase, but in there I had like a
Yep.
Quake model of myself, an actual
Yeah.
3D model moving.
Mm.
That model is being used.
Oh,
It's
okay
being
then.
used.
You've been
Dude,
immortalized.
I think we did a podcast on the day that you released that. I remember speaking with the guy behind DOSManGames, and he said in the Discord chat, he says you're recording a podcast on the biggest gaming event of the year, and he was referring to your show. Basically saying you're going up against Zlim. Are you crazy? But that show was absolutely frigging balls to the wall, and I think everybody was like, "How the hell did he pull that?" Essentially, a realms deep off by himself. You
Yeah.
know, bringing everyone on board. But I don't know anyone that I spoke to that didn't kind of speak positively about it. They were all in on like, yeah, if he wants to do a show, you know, we're happy to be a part of it or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we were already joking with you that you were like always putting content out, that you were like the hardest working guy, and then you put off what is essentially an event by yourself. So it was quite shocking that, you know, you would do that. How the hell do you find time for all of this stuff? You're a father with kids and a full-time job, you know? Do you have to
Yeah.
go by a schedule or something? How'd you do it?
I actually can't fully reveal my secret there. I cannot, but
I almost put this in the script. I was
uh,
like, I'm never going to dance around whatever it is. So.
but I can do it off recording for you guys, but not on recording.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you want
okay.
answers, you're gonna have to DM me. But essentially,
I will.
yeah, essentially, I have to. There is a lot of planning involved. There is a lot of planning, and I have to. You know, I've been doing a lot of reviews, which requires a lot of script writing, and I'm terrible at script writing. I wish I had midnight skills there. I'm absolutely terrible at it. So to juggle the time better and to make use of my skills better, which is I can't see it myself, but I hear it from others. I'm a lovable person, blah 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 blah. So I want to show more of myself, which means I am doing shorter scripts now and more of myself showcasing whatever it is. Like I just did a Sulfur review. I don't really like to call them reviews anymore because I hype the game up. Tell you what I think is excellent about it. Then I play it for about 20 to 40 minutes, showing the game off for you, talking about it, talking about good points and reacting to whatever is going on. And then I conclude it, which makes it takes less effort making a video like that, and more effort means more time, and time is not my friend. So that's why I juggle the streams. I try to make the best use of the time that I have, and you know, always mix up the format that I got going on. And right now, this is the thing that is working best for me. If I ever start making YouTube full time, it's obviously going to change again because I'm going to have more time to put into it. But I don't recommend anyone doing what I'm doing right now. I honestly think that if you were to like have a full time work, 2 kids, wife, and do the amount of YouTube that I have done, most people would probably walk straight into the wall. I don't know how I have not done it yet. I had days where I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm breaking apart right now. And I know exactly why I feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm still here. I'm still happy. And I don't know, something inside of me is just burning so freaking hard to make it with this YouTube thing that it's absolutely crazy. I'm ready to like walk on lava to make this thing work.
Well, you seem to be going the right way. And as someone that ran 4 YouTube channels at the same time and spent like 15-hour working days, I can tell you that, you know, I understand when you're saying that the pace of keeping things up
Yeah.
is insane. you do need to listen to your mind, you do need to listen to your body, and you do need to ask yourself, what is working for me and what can I get rid of, that's not working for me, just
Yeah.
to be able to free up that time and energy and mental capacity. And as I've said many times in the past, I don't have what Medium has, where you can make an hour-long video. That's just a level of commitment that I can't do. I'm kind of a smaller video, more frequently sort of person.
Yeah.
But if you feel that it's working for you, then yes, do it. Just don't do it at the cost of. I mean, do you imagine waking up one day and your wife is like, "I barely ever get to see you anymore," and yet you're standing right next to me? That's what mine said to me.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get to that point, you know?
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. And that's why I'm juggling the formats right now to make better
Yeah.
use of my time. I don't want to wake up one day and like, oh shit, my kids are grown up. What happened?
Yeah.
That's I still keep that in my mind all the time. But yeah, I really don't recommend anyone doing it as me and Robert has been doing it. And I mean, midnight making a hour-long video that just screams of high quality from the editing to the writing and everything. That's also I know how much freaking work you put into one of those videos, and it's a lot of work that a lot of people don't really understand how much actually goes into one of those videos. Hell, even when you just press record or go live or anything, people are like, it just click the button and go. No, it isn't that easy. It isn't that easy.
Right.
It isn't that easy doing this podcast either. Something happens in your body when you click record or when you click live, and it drains energy faster than you can imagine. Yeah.
It's because I think because you need to put your personality across to the camera, so you need to be kind of upbeat and animated.
Yeah.
And I would even before recording this, I had a very large dinner, and I was ready to sleep.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I've got this recording I need to do. Let me have a cigarette. Let me put some coffee in my belly, and then just trying to wake myself up, because people don't realize that what the three of us do, it's a job.
Yeah.
It is literally a job unto itself, and everyone thinks they can do it until they're doing it.
Yeah.
And then they realize what it entails. And it's so many jobs in one. I can't do what you're doing with the streaming. To me, that terrifies me. The idea of being on the spot, live, streaming. This is why I just pop into your streams every once in a while. I chat shit and then I peace out, because it's literally because that's one, all I've got time to do. Two, I want to support my friends, of course. But three, my mind starts thinking to myself the logistics of how is Zlim doing this? How is he recording his voice? What is he feeding it through? All of that sort of logistical stuff. Because as soon as you watch a Medium video or something, your mind as a creator is trying to decipher how they've created it.
Yes.
And it becomes a daunting task, So it's and I guess the same is true of any game developer. If they play a game that they really enjoy, they're trying to dissect it as to how they can, achieve something like that.
Yeah.
But good lord.
The level up moment for somebody that reviews things kind of like we're trying to do on a regular basis is realizing how many times we look down our nose at something and go, God, it's just awful. And then going, that took them God knows how many hours to make that thing you don't like. Just imagine how much it takes to make something that's really good that most people like,
Yes.
So easy to just go, not good enough for my taste. And it's like, yeah, but they weren't trying to make it suck. And they were putting things we make and we're like, that was awful. And I still spent 20 hours on that,
Yeah. Who is it that said, maybe both of you know, who is it that said it was like within the last 2 or 3 days that they got a negative review on Steam because someone basically was saying that their game was shit. And the problem with being on Steam, was it El Mugu, our previous guest? It was saying that as soon as you put your game on Steam, everyone, because you're up next to Call of Duty and Doom, it doesn't matter if you're a single developer, people will judge you based on the available competition that you have.
Right.
Yeah.
So when a game like DOSManGames comes out, and they are very upfront and they say, we are bite-sized boomer shooters, this is our unique selling point. You can't judge a game when you're covering it as if you were covering, Battlefield or something like that. You have to see from the eyes of, did this developer achieve what they set out to achieve on the scale that they wanted to do it within the budget, etc., and judge things based on that. And that's why I have a good working relationship with them, and but as everyone does here, of course, because we're all part of that same crew that are just kind of, we're in it together and we're trying to raise each other up rather than put each other down. Let IGN and Kotaku do the putting down. You know,
Yeah.
we're here to raise each other up. And but speaking of that, games like Reaper and DOSManGames, the product, if you want to call it. I don't like calling video games product. It sounds wrong. Do you think that games like this are kind of the future of the industry? You know, the whole bite-sized boomer shooter thing?
It's a really, really good question, actually. I've been
It's
thinking about it.
William's question. I don't want to take.
Oh, sorry.
credit
Go,
for that.
go. I will fill in.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell he was thinking about how to retrain the conversation to get back into that. But yeah, you set it up great. Because I was just noticing that it seems like a really good idea in the face of the amount of feature creep. But not even like the committed feature creep that we see in like the AAA spaces and everything. It feels like games are just adding everything that games have ever been on kind of a stereotypical level. Like everything's got to have a skill tree or be a hub world or an open world. And it's like in a way, it's cool that we're in the space where we can regularly do that. And it's not just all these real hard and fast genres. But at the same time, there's like a homogeneity between it all where it's all sort of, every genre starts to feel the same now. And so when I saw the bite-sized boomer shooter thing, I was like, finally something that's like legitimately, you can't argue it's not doing its own little weird thing. That's definitely distinct. You can't sit there and be like, oh, it's just another shooter. Yeah, but it's not, it's not an 8-hour campaign that needs to do all these levels and stuff. They can sit there, and it's just like when you're doing short videos versus you talking about me putting all this work into the long videos. It's amazing how hard it is to make something short good. It's not just less work. It's how do you justify why? Because like 8 minutes, it's always proportional, right?
Yeah.
Because you always look at your watch time and it's always the same proportion no matter how long it is. It's not like, oh, I made a 16-minute video. People only watch 8 minutes. I guess I'll make an 8-minute video and they'll watch the whole thing. They'll still probably watch 4 minutes of the 8-minute one or something like that. So yeah, I was just curious what your predictions were, or kind of like how you think the bite-sized boomer shooter fits into the future of, well, gaming in general, but certainly the indie scene.
Yeah, that's for you, Zlim. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby.
So, yeah, hell yeah. I've been thinking a lot about the bite-sized games in general, and my thought around it is that I think, personally, when I pick up a bite-sized boomer shooter or bite-sized game at all, no matter the genre, I think of it like renting a movie, like I used to back in the day. I rent a movie over the weekend. I buy a bite-sized boomer shooter, I play it over the weekend, and it's done. And I think that it is a concept that is going to evolve, and I think we are going to see more of them. I know that there are a few out there that are waiting to get covered, and they're just popping up everywhere right now. And while not always quantity is better, I still think it's a cool thing. It's a really cool thing, and time is always getting shorter for everyone. Everyone is always struggling with time, so doing a bite-sized game, like renting a movie over the weekend, playing it, maybe even bite-sized games that you can play with your kids or whatever. Perfect freaking idea. And I don't think it's gonna be the thing that is going to be the next big thing that everyone talks about, but I think it's definitely going to grow 100%.
Nice.
So,
Excellent. Well, it fills
harkening back
a
to
gap in the market.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you actually touched on something I forgot to include in my giant diatribe there at the beginning of that question, which is the length thing. Because it's not just like, oh man, there's too much stuff to think about. It's also like, how much time do I have to invest in all these tedious, like, how many times do I do the same thing to get the outcome, like the reward at the end of the quest chain that's 20 fetch quests or whatever it is. And it's really nice to have like a genre that finally is like, you don't have to play the biggest game every time you play a game anymore.
Exactly.
It's all meat, no fat. All meat.
Like Metal Gear Solid 5 is a game I always think, man, I would love to go back to that game. And it's just like exponential. Like everything is more. Everything has 15 mechanics inside of the one thing, the one side thing you do. And I'm just like, man, I don't know if I can like mentally handle how much I want to do all those things if I'm going to play it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. 100% understand
Cool.
what you mean.
So, gentlemen, I think it's about time that we brought in our first feature here, our famous rapid fire round. So, Zlim, get that tongue ready. I'm about to put it to use in a non-creepy way.
I don't think there was any other way to take that. I think we got to lean into that. Lean into it and bend over.
So, yeah, I'm going in dry. Okay, so folks, it's time for our famous rapid fire round. Our guest has 1 minute, kinda, to answer 10 questions given to him from a random question generator, including the one trick question that we added. Let's do this. So, Zlim,
Yes.
number 1. What is the strangest place you've ever fallen asleep?
In Thailand, in a very, very old school car, out in nowhere.
I've actually done that myself in India. Yeah. But question 2, what is the best compliment you've ever received?
Ooh. I don't think I can say that here.
Oh yes.
Enough said.
We've all been there. Yeah, it's good. So 3, what was the last dream that you can remember having?
Oh, okay. Actually, my daughter falling down. We were walking on this huge bridge out in the jungle. I don't know why we were there, what we're doing, and my daughter fell through one of the planks on the bridge, and I catched her in one of her hands, and I pulled her up, and then I woke up.
That sounds like daddy's protective instincts are
Yep.
lodged within your subconscious. Yeah. Number 4, what is your plan for surviving a zombie invasion?
My plan would be actually to go into a store that has a lot of food and have my vehicle fully gassed up so that I can drive
Nice.
over anything that tries to kill me. And, just barricade that food store and survive for as long as I possibly can. Find the boomstick ASAP.
Oh, right. So you probably don't know it, but you just perfectly described the plot of a movie called The Mist,
That's exactly
written from a
what I
book
was
by
thinking.
Stephen
yeah.
King.
Oh yeah,
I was just about to say, don't
yeah.
go outside if the mist is still there.
Number 5. What's an interesting fact that you recently learned?
That the company that I work for owes 5.7 trillion euros in debt, which
What?
is a very tiny sum for this company.
Holy shit.
OMG.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at first
oh-
when I heard that, I was like, and then they were like, "That's nothing." Okay.
If you say so.
if only all our pockets were that deep. Yeah. Oh, I
Exactly.
lost 5 trillion. It's cool, man. I got 26 more.
Yeah.
So, number 6. What's the last thing you did alone and you enjoyed? Keep it YouTube safe.
Sounds like a
Okay.
trap.
The last thing that I did and enjoyed
Alone.
Yeah.
alone. I picked up a new car 2 days ago alone.
Sweet.
That was fun.
Nice. That's a grown-up
Uh,
thing to do.
Yeah.
Bonus question. Can we ask what type of car it was?
It's a Volkswagen ID4.
Snazzy.
But as you were saying that, I literally heard the word IdTech 4 in my mind when you said it.
Almost.
Almost, yeah. Number 7. Do you shave your head, or are you actually as bald as a porn star's beaver?
No, I shave my head every other day. I have one of those skull shavers. It's not. I don't shave with a blade. It's like it's
Yeah.
shaped after my head, and I just go like that for 30 seconds, and it's done.
Nice.
30 seconds. My God, I wish I could do that. I'm going slightly bald around here, so this is why I brush it forward. I just don't have the confidence to do what you do and be like, you know what, just go, because it feels like you're getting rid of your identity or something.
Yeah,
But-
don't be too afraid. It's gonna feel awful for 2 weeks. Then it's not going to
Yeah.
feel awful anymore. Trust me. Just do it.
Just do it.
I'll get back to you on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 8. Are there any words that you simply can't stand?
I can't stand melee. It doesn't spell melee. It spells
Yeah.
melee.
Me-
I
I
hate
can
that
never
word.
pronounce it.
Ugh, melee.
Melee. Yeah, melee. Ah, okay.
Uh,
Any others?
half,
Who?
half, half,
What's that?
half. How the hell do you say
Oh,
Half-Life?
half.
Half-Life, half-life, half. What the half?
I say half.
Half.
Number 9. What doesn't exist but should?
The super shotgun.
Half-Life 3. What? Okay.
uh,
Or a
and
good version of
finally,
Doom 3. Oof.
what? What the hell just came out of your mouth then? What the hell? I will not take that slander from a man that doesn't like horror
I
games.
think I heard that
The
backwards.
greatest.
What was said?
Mm,
Write it down.
what?
Use it in evidence.
A good
Yeah.
version
And
of Doom 3.
and finally, number 10. If you could change the color of one thing, what would it be and why?
I would change. Damn that. My PC. It's black. I want it to be white. It's more old school if it's white. White and gray, you know, with a touch of yellow.
Oh, okay. Then you leave it long enough, it'll turn yellow by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got I got a white laptop, so I know what you're talking about, and it does look slick as shit, baby. Yeah.
What's that thing that Patrick says in SpongeBob? You know, these were white when I bought them.
Cool. Right, well, that concludes our rapid fire round. That was a nice, lively round. Zlim, I want to thank you for
Well done.
your straight up answers, some of which were, interesting, and some of which, Doom 3 related, were just straight up disrespectful. So, yeah, appreciate your time, brother.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I'm actually curious if you'll let me derail the
Cool.
conversation just briefly. What would you improve
Do it.
in your,
Go
or
on.
what would improve Doom 3 in your opinion?
No, in all honesty, Doom 3, it's not a bad game. It's not. It's the fact that I hate horror games, and that game scared the absolute
Wow.
living freaking crap out of me. And when it released, my friend actually had a new PC, and so we were like, "Oh, wow, we got Doom 3. It has the latest graphics, everything, and your new PC can actually run it." So we booted it up. We didn't really know what to expect of it. We were kind of expecting, like, blast heads off and go hardcore metal, and yeah. And we booted it up, and it scared the living crap out of us, and we never played it for more than like 1 hour tops, and then I didn't touch it again for a couple of years.
Yeah, exceptionally good game when it comes to the light and shadow and scares and pacing and stuff like that. I've never played it with a headset on, but I would imagine with like a surround headset on, that it's
Yeah.
absolutely ball breaking.
Yeah.
Shit,
Yeah, those
panically good. Yeah.
ambient
The
whispers and
thing that
everything.
Yeah, but the thing that many people actually forget is that if you played Doom back in the day, it was scary. It was horrifying. You had never seen anything quite like it before.
Mm.
And Doom 3 did the exact same thing again. They had the latest graphics, and they were mighty freaking impressive back then if you could crank it up. And you had never really seen anything quite like it before, with the flashlight, with the extremely dark environments, with the freaking cyborg dogs jumping out of a toilet. Yeah, no, I had never seen anything quite like it, at least, so it scared the living crap out of me.
Yeah.
So they kinda did
They
exactly what they did with the first Doom,
Mhm.
in a
they did,
sense.
yeah. People forget that the Doom franchise is a horror action franchise
Yeah.
because often the action part of it takes precedent over the horror side of it. The first Doom games that came out were for that generation really, really scary games to
Yeah.
play, and a lot of it is to do with the sound, You can walk into a room and as soon as you hear the imp sound, you're like, what was going on? Where, Really, really good stuff. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
Yeah,
wall is
cool.
that behind?
Yeah. And that's the thing with Doom, of course, is that they're behind a lot of walls, and a lot of those walls you don't know are going to open until you stand next to it or something. The
Yeah.
monster closets, man. Oh man, cool. Medium, you had a very interesting question that you'd put on there that I wanted to hear the answer from, because my partner's Romanian, and you mentioned Romania in it as well.
Because I know I've just kind of been speaking with a lot of the smaller creators, kind of in that sub 5,000 kind of category, and everybody's grinding to try and hit the breakout, then get to the 10 to 15 to the 20s, all that kind of stuff. And I've noticed that speaking with a lot of people outside of the U.S., which tends to be the biggest market for YouTube viewership and that kind of stuff, and they tend to pay the best rates, right, the best RPM. Heard a couple of them, Romania, Poland, maybe even Germany was one of them, talking about how it's like kind of hard because they kind of region lock you sometimes behind. They kind of keep you near local viewership, right, a lot of the time. And so it's really hard to kind of snag that US viewership and kind of engraft yourself in so you can start kind of reaping the rewards. And even then you may be capped by like how much money they let into the country in a way, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was that something you ever ran into yourself or ever even noticed? Or was that something that was part of your experience kind of coming up, pretty fast like that?
No, I actually, when I did Twitch streaming, I started making a couple of TikToks out of the streams, and TikTok is super, super heavy on region locking you. So TikTok works like they are only going to send it out to Swedish people first. If the Swedish people like it, then they're gonna push it out to the other people. And I've always been talking English when making content, so I was like, is it going to work like this on YouTube as well? Then it's going to be really hard. But I was like, screw it. I'm going to start on English anyway. And I kept a close eye on my analytics all the time, thanks to this experience from TikTok. And quickly, I realized that my name drags in a lot of, Serbian people, Polish people, Russian people, Ukrainian people, all that kind of region is pulled towards me thanks to my name, because all of them they know Bratsky somehow. It actually has a meaning as well in another country, in one of those countries. But yeah, so it really dragged in a lot of them. And then I realized, okay, I'm not that region locked because I'm not in that region. And the more I grew, the more the US people started popping in. And right now, it's actually like 67% of my viewers are from the US. And then right under it, I think it's Russia, and then it's Germany, England, and so on and so forth. And Sweden is actually like 27th or something like that. It's really far down.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I don't have that problem, and I haven't actually experienced it with YouTube. I think they have a way of recognizing what language you're speaking in your videos, so they kind of push it towards that. I think they have some kind of AI system recognizing that.
Mm. Oh, you can put your language, of course, in the
Oh yeah, you
in
can
the
even do that. Yeah.
yeah. I have to set this to American English.
Uh-huh.
And it's just because that's our analytics are, I think it's about 60%. No, it's not. It's about 40% US. And then the UK, oddly enough, just from what you said then, that they push it out to your home country first. I don't know if it's because I'm based in the UK, but the UK is like 30% of our audience.
Uh-huh.
And then you get everyone else that's just like 2%, 5%, etc.
Yeah.
Including, for some reason, we seem to be pretty decent audience over in places like Indonesia and places like that, man. Checking out the Quad Damage podcast over in Indonesia and Malaysia and stuff.
Wow.
But fair dues to Malaysian fans out there. Yeah. Oh,
Hell
nice one.
yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing us, Medium and I, one step closer to, a holiday in Malaysia or something like that. Meeting
See you
with some
soon.
people.
It'll be our first stop.
And to be
Yeah.
fair, like the boomer shooter subgenre is actually growing in those countries quite a lot. We're seeing
Yeah.
developers popping out from there as well. So it's actually
course,
really
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
One of the best GZ Doom games, in my opinion, that's coming out is Malapataka.
Yep.
And that has an amazing demo. As a vertical slice of that game, it was enough for me to say, yes, instant wish list, I'll buy that day one. And I think he's Indonesia as well, I believe. Bridgeburn has been on our show a few times, and Malapataka is a Hellforge game. So he's mentioned it on a few occasions. It's very surprising because the boom shooter scene as a whole really just very much nothing really happened for the first few years, and then suddenly it just came out of nowhere. Suddenly, everybody loved boomer shooters. It was being covered by IGN and PC Gamer and all these people. You've got people like Gianni, you've got people like Dave Oshry. They've got hundreds of thousands of people following them on Twitter
Yeah.
and stuff like that. You know, Civi and G-Man have got well over 800,000 subscribers. It's a huge genre as it is right now. And I don't think it's just because of the 30-year cycle that, you know, all the people that were teenagers and kids in the 90s are now grown up. So they're feeling that wave of nostalgia coming back. I think that it's an actual, I don't want to use the term movement. It's an actual thing that is here to stay. We didn't create a show called the Quad Damage Podcast in the hope that it would die off in 5 years, you know, because we should, you know, past their era. But I really do feel that it's a genre that's here to stay, and it will pass in time as you know we move. We had the 90s era, then there's the PlayStation 1 era that everyone's getting nostalgic for and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see where things go when we get to the point where we're talking about games like BioShock and stuff as if they were the games that we played when we were kids, because they're not that long ago, really.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of console generations ago that they came out, but yeah, everyone talks about them as if they came out in the Victorian era. And
You can
it's
definitely see
really
you can see a lot of discussions now. Is Half-Life a boomer shooter? Is it? Is it not? I see a ton of those discussions everywhere.
yeah. Do you go on Reddit a lot?
No.
No,
I see
I had
them
to,
on Discord and Twitter.
yeah, I had to correct someone. Don't know when it was, maybe a week or something like that, where someone was asking what the best boomer shooters are. So we're saying, you know, Proteus, Cultic, all of these fantastic games. And then people were saying things like the original Doom and Bloods, and I had to explain to them that these are not boomer shooters. A boomer shooter is a game that is created from the ground up to emulate an older style. Those are just older games. They're not actually boomer shooters, you know,
Yeah.
because they're not looking to recreate something that came before them. They are the thing that came before. And there was discussion about that. Is Duke Nukem a boomer shooter and stuff? No. But it's becoming fairly big on console. The
Yeah.
first boomer shooters that I bought, Project Warlock, I think, was the first one. I remember buying Ion Fury, Project Warlock, and Duke Nukem 3 on Xbox around the same time, and just being chuffed to bits that boomer shooters were making their way to Xbox. And then, of course, Ion Fury Aftershock comes out, and I can't buy it because it's not on Xbox yet. So I'm blue balling over here wanting to play Aftershock. I want to do it on PC. I got to buy Ion Fury because you know you got to have the base game along with it. So it's a bit of a ball ache, but I'm very happy that, you know, as piss poor as it is to play shooting games with a controller, they are making their way, you know, to consoles, which is fantastic.
It is a little unfortunate though that boomer shooters specifically don't play the greatest on console. It's almost like they're made to be. They have to be really mouse sensitive because they're always kind of like, what was that one boomer shooter? It may have been Proteus or Bolt Gun. And they don't play badly, but you can tell there's like this kind of weird drift or floatiness to the way you move on there that just isn't present. Forgive Me Father was that way too. That plays okay on console, but you really have to turn on the auto aim, like just a very slight aim assist to make it feel. Otherwise, it's like it doesn't play well with that level of like kind of that 3D feel you have from pushing literally forward on a controller and things like that. It just feels off. It's like you kind of need that 2D kind of distance from yourself to kind of feel like you're in the space. But
I'm one of those, like, if you play on console, turn on auto aim. If you enjoy the game more, turn it on. There's no shame in that. It's a lot harder aiming on a controller. That's just how it is. Turn it on.
Yeah. Do you use any cloud gaming services like GeForce Now and stuff?
No.
I played Sprawl using GeForce Now on my Nvidia Shield with a controller, and it doesn't have auto aim on. I kid you not. I emptied entire clips and hit fuck all, and I could not aim for shit. Yeah. Without auto aim, could not aim for shit on it.
How is the latency on that? Does it hurt as well?
No, it's absolutely flawless. There are only two cloud gaming services that really I can say if you have a good internet connection. have equaled the local experience for me. One of them is GeForce Now because it's NVIDIA. It's going to be top of the line. And the other was Stadia, which was a very pleasant surprise. As an ecosystem, it wasn't that great. It had its community, it had its fans, but Google absolutely wrecked it as a potential product. But the technology involved in it, I beat Doom Eternal with a controller on Stadia several times over, actually. And I never had a single problem with it. And that's an extremely difficult and intense shooter. But yeah, Sprawl absolutely hammered me on that. I never told the devs, I think, and we had the devs on a few weeks ago. It was a point that I wanted to say to them, but I forgot about it. But to go back to what Medium you were saying about you need the auto aim and stuff like that, I think it's a lot of the times because these are PC gamers that are PC developers and they're having to port to other consoles. So they're making their games for the PC crowd, essentially, to begin with, and then having to box themselves into the restrictions of a console port. So maybe this is the reason why that they have those issues.
Well, I think it's also got something to do with the boomer shooter archetype, whatever that is kind of by definition stiff. It's not about like, it's not supposed to feel super realistic. So when you kind of make it where it has to feel like that, because you've got all this ability to sit there and push it around, like you can push it and the game will tell you whether it knows whether it can prove to you that feels real. You can make it look kind of bad just incidentally in ways that you can't really undo on the PC, because the PC is just, you're kind of on a string like this. Whereas anytime you're kind of nudging it, kind of doing that kind of stuff, it makes it look weird by default. And it's like, oh, okay, I can see, this is not quite translating, and it's nobody's fault. It's just the way it is. So it's definitely not like a failing of the game, in my opinion, especially since they got better things. That's like a bonus round that you get to play on a console, in my opinion, for somebody that big to be making 3 or 4 different versions of their PC game, And a lot of more of them are coming to the console than you would expect too, because like, what is it, like Proteus, Project Warlock, the Turok games have come there now.
Yeah, the Night Dive ones they do.
Slayer
Fury,
6.
how you say that?
Slayer 6, really?
Yeah,
I thought that would have been PC through and through.
I think it's on Game Pass.
Oh no!
Wow.
Am I crazy?
Yeah, there's a lot of them come to Switch as well, not just console, but Switch.
Yeah,
which has like the craziest control system. I can't do it for shit.
No,
can't do that at all. But it's amazing what they can put on Switch right now. Obviously, boomer shooters are designed to look older. Their requirements are less than you Doom Eternal, but it's so fantastic to see Nintendo supporting so many indie devs out there, because that's essentially the boomer shooter market is the indie dev market. You don't have a AAA sort of space within the boomer shooters. But speaking of which, what was the best boomer shooters and what was the best boomer shooter that you played recently?
The best boomer shooter that I played recently is it's not technically like the best or most impressive game or anything like that, but it to me was the most memorable game in quite some time, and it's actually Reverend.
Okay, yes, yeah.
It's
will
actually
be
another
happy to hear
DOSManGames. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is that I had such a great connection with the developer before jumping into the game. We're both Swedish, and when I started playing his game, it all felt so extremely personal. Like I could see his work in the game, and it just gave me such a cozy feeling, and it has such crazy environments and weapons and everything that just made it super memorable. And that cozy feeling that I had playing it, and you can find me in that game as well. It just stuck with me. It stuck with me, and I still think about it today. The first time that I played a game, and I do realize that it's really not the technical most advanced game. It is a bite-sized boomer shooter and everything, but for that time when I played it, it was just perfect for me. It was exactly what I needed, and I enjoyed it from start to end. And that put it on the most memorable list for me.
Medium,
as of
what
late.
about yourself? Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I feel like I knew the answer to this question the other day, and it's escaped my mind because I've been grinding so hard on just something totally different. Crap, I know there was one. Oh, Forgive Me Father was one that's kind of come back around. Like when I first saw that just the screenshots. Obviously, everybody was like, "Are you kidding me? They can do that? You know, if we've been doing, how come everybody else isn't doing this cool thing?" And because I'm a huge comic book dork, that was like the first thing I ever liked. You know, I wasn't like into movies or games or anything. I grew up reading comic books,
Yeah.
right, and reading just books in general. So when all those kind of things come back full circle, and I got a Lovecraft book from a friend. It was like a limited edition or something that he had got from a yard sale. So I read that. I could only read like 3 or 4 pages at a time. So it was like all these little patchwork things from my childhood coming together. And I'd heard some kind of downer things about it, and I've been putting off for a long time because that's what I do. I still haven't played Dusk. Let's put it that way. I keep watching everybody play it. I'm like, I just don't want to be over with it. It looks too good. I don't want to touch it and then be done with it. Same thing with Forgive Me, Father. And then I played it because there was some buzz about doing the second game, and I wanted to be prepared, right, and know how to contrast them when they came out. And that was pretty good. Like, I was surprised. People were like, "Oh, the level design is too simplistic and all this stuff." And I'm like, "You mean the level design doesn't endlessly trap me in mazes and waste my time looking for keys and gets me to the fun stuff?" Oh shit. What a bummer. I was like, this is awesome. Yeah. And I thought the metal music would really piss me off too, because I played the demo and I was like, this doesn't fit at all. And man, none of the zombies make enough noises. I'm constantly getting hit from behind and killed. And I'm like, how am I supposed to deal with this? And then the full game came out and it all kind of gelled. And I was like, this is exactly what I was hoping for. So I think that definitely is the boomer shooter that's kind of come. Eventually it actualized, kind of the potential I thought it had. And I was like, oh, thank God. So that was cool.
Awesome.
Sweet. That actually leads me on to the next question. So we do have a section called Viewers' Questions, where we put out to the general public any questions they want to ask our guest. And you've just mentioned that Reverend Zlim was one of the most memorable games that you've played, recently. But Evil Troy via Twitter is asking, who is your favorite indie dev?
Ooh, favorite indie developer. Oh, this is going to hurt a couple of people. My favorite indie developer has to be probably the Incision developer.
Oh, Smooth Brain.
Smooth
yes,
Brain.
yeah.
Yeah. We have had a lot of talks about everything. We have a lot of things that we can relate to each other when it comes to real life stuff, and he's a really awesome guy. And you might also be able to see the Quake model in that game eventually.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah. We had he joined us for an episode quite a while ago, and he's got a follow-up episode with us coming in a short while, actually.
Oh, nice.
I don't want to give exact dates because I like to keep our guests a surprise for the general public, and they just get hit with that announcement post one day. But Smooth Brain, absolutely fantastic person. I speak with him on Discord as well. Since the appearance, hence why he's coming on again. But someone asked me on speaking of Reddit again. I got a message, a DM on there. Why don't you invite on Smooth Brain Dev for a game called Incision, which I think needs more exposure? And I was like, my brother in Christ, check this link out. And I said, I sent him the link. Yes, yeah. Incision is one of the most distinctive and exciting games that are coming out on the market today, and I've said this several times.
For sure.
There are some amazing games that come out there. I'm playing Sulaco at the moment. It is absolutely living up to the hype in every way. Incision is one of those games where you look at it and you can say, I know what that game is, just from one screenshot of it. And that's hard in a world where, there are 20,000 games released a year on Steam. Being able to identify your game from one screenshot is very distinctive. It's got some of the most satisfying combat I've ever played in it. I still think it's a bit weird that you can dart around in the air. It takes a while to get used to, but
I don't know if he said that, but the movement in air is actually exactly the same as on the ground. There's no difference. It's just the same movement.
Yeah. No, we never got that. I'll ask him about it the next time we see him. But to me, Incision is up there with the Turbo Overkills, the Cultics, and Incision is on that level as well. Absolutely banging game, and I can't wait.
In episode 2, holy crap, he cranked everything up. You can see his skill really developing in chapter 2.
I've only played the first episode because the game was so damn good that I was like, I want to play it in its entirety when it comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've purposefully not touched episode 2. Just
Mm.
I want that beginning to end experience with Incision because I know that I'm going to come away feeling that I've played something special.
Yeah.
So there was an interesting question that we did have on here, and what was it? It was about Zlim. It was about your change that you made a short while ago.
Hmm.
Everyone knew you as the boomer shooter guy, and then you started branching out into indie games as a whole.
Yeah.
So what was that? Did you look at your analytics and make a call on that? Was your heart calling towards the greater indie scene? What kind of led to that change?
So I've always enjoyed video game violence. Always enjoyed video game gore, and
Yeah.
I'm not a weirdo in that sense. Only video game violence, okay?
It reminds me of the
No,
good
but I've
old
always
days.
loved that. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I love about boomer shooters. They're always super violent, and the
Mhm.
thing is, I'm only human. Like I've been playing, or I had been playing boomer shooters nonstop for 2 years because I had a huge backlog. I still haven't finished Dusk as an example. Uh, yeah.
I'm not alone.
Bruh, that is like
Woo!
that's one of the original and best. That should be like on your you'll go away from it the same way I just talked about Incision. You'll sit back and
Uh-huh.
you'll think I played something special. Yeah. But please continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So, playing boomer shooters for 2 years, I was like almost talking to myself like, "I need to do something else," because the only time that I have playing video games is making content on video games. I don't have any spare time to game on my off time whatsoever.
Mm,
So, only covering boomer shooters would mean that I would only play boomer shooters, and
mm.
through and through, I'm a gamer. I love all kinds of game. One of my favorite games of all time is Jack and Dexter and Ratchet and Clank. So far from boomer shooters as you can
Yeah.
get. So I was like, I need to do something that makes me able to play more games. So I decided to go for what I love, which is video game violence. So I cover all indie games that are brutal in some
Yeah.
sense.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's what I love, and that's what I want to do. Now the focus has been that, but there is so many great shooters coming out all the time that I genuinely want to play. So it's still like 90% FPS games on the channel. But in my like list videos, in my upcoming games videos each month, I try to include more shooter games that are not first person because I do enjoy playing them myself. So yeah, it wasn't anything. It didn't have anything to do with the analytics. Every time that I cover something that isn't a first person shooter, that video tends to go far less than a first person shooter game. So it's only for my own sake that I do that. Nothing about the
Right.
analytics. And I
Okay.
think and I
Going with
think
your
if
heart. Yeah.
yeah, and I think if I continue that and start building an audience around that, eventually that is going to be able to grow even bigger than having a super small niche.
Mhm.
You still
Mm.
gotta have some form of niche on YouTube. It's I know that people don't think that, but the hard truth is that having a bit of a niche is better than not having one at all. That my analytics have proven that to me at least.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to make a niche, but make it a little bit bigger, kinda ish. And I think if you slowly branch out over time, all the time, people are gonna love. Some people are gonna love you for you. Some people are gonna love you for the games that you show. Some people are gonna love you for this and that. And the bigger each of those categories become, the bigger you're gonna become.
Mm. Right.
I think there's something to be said too for letting people know who you are faster rather than like, actually, I really didn't want to cover these things for 5 years. I would really rather be doing this too. And they're like, no, no, man, that's not who you
Yeah,
are to me.
exactly.
So it's kind of like, let them know up front, let them get used to you being that for the longest period of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And I think there was
Mhm.
there's something I've been finding because I was curious if it was like better to get, locked into one genre. Is that like what I'm missing? I like too many things, that kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
found something that was really cool. I don't know how actionable and true it actually is. but the idea that your niche isn't just, especially in gaming, right? It isn't just first person. It might be the type of people that like first person shooters and also this. Or
Yeah.
they might like these type of movies, and obviously there aren't first person shooter movies. So what movies do they like, or what music do they listen to? If you can find the vibe, I think that's what they were getting into, is that your niche is more like your audience type than it is just the exact genre and the exact, that kind of thing. I was like, well, that's a better way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Then you have a much broader, but still, or say a wider scope of options, and you can then find what about me do people come to it for? What can I find in that, and kind of give it back to the audience, and that kind of thing. So
yeah.
That was
I think it's important to let the viewers know what can they expect from you. And as an example, Midnight, I know you've been doing a lot of different games, horror games, alien games, shooting games. But to me, what I expect from you is giving me information that I otherwise would not have thought of, otherwise would not have known of. To me, you are a source of information. Even though I'm not interested in the game, I expect from you to deliver a high quality, longer video that is going to feed me. That is what I expect from you. And it doesn't matter what game you cover. So one could say that I am in the category of liking you for who you are, and I have an expectation on you. And it doesn't matter what kind of game it is. If it is Metal Gear Solid or if it is The Bunker, what the hell is it called?
Amnesia the Bunker.
Amnesia the Bunker, yeah. It doesn't matter which one of those it is, because I have a certain expectation on you, which you are delivering on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So, just bringing things just to wrap things up here. That I know that we have that previous guest question. So I'm aware that Medium was going to ask you the viewers' questions, and I kind of segued into it. So I'm going to let Medium handle this one here, and drop to you kind of our previous guest question and see if there's anything you want to ask our next one. Let me check quickly who our next guest is. Good Lord, I've completely overlooked that.
I'll tell you what, while you're looking, you want me to ask him that little kind of in between question that we had there?
Yeah, good. Shoot.
Yeah, because we actually kind of segued into it pretty nicely. Because I'm not going to beat around the bush. I think it goes without saying that you've made a pretty big impression pretty fast, which is nothing but a testament to focus and kind of like knowing who you want, what you want to give out as far as energy and just focus and the hunger for it. So mad respect for that. If nothing else, like we gotta at least tip the hat. Like that's just, if nothing else, it's inspiring, right? Some people might be envious and go, I can't believe this motherfucker came out of nowhere doing this. And it's like, dude, that could be you. Like, chill out.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right? That is possible.
20 subs from 10K now.
Right. That's
baby.
outrageous. I just looked before we got on here. I was like, oh my God, I last looked, he had 7,000. That's insane. That was like 2 months ago or something. But I guess my question would be, and it's always hard when you're kind of at the eye of the storm, like the all the attention's kind of swirling around you, and you're like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like I know why I like what I like and what I'm doing, but why does everyone else like it so much? I guess, what would your takeaway be that you could hand off to the next guy that might be sitting there and going like, man, how do I find my audience and find my niche in that way? What would your advice to that person be, if just kind of like finding that and building up that type of audience?
That's a really good question. And I know that a lot of people have heard this before, but to me, it really, really was like this. And it is just start. Just start. Every single video that you make, every single stream that you make, look back at it, take notes, improve what you think needs improving, and take every video and every stream that you make as a learning session. That is your key to becoming whatever it is that you're finally going to find inside of you that you want to be, or that you want to make people think that you are, or whatever. You need to start. Then you can delete all of those videos afterwards, but upload them, feel like you have done something, look back at them, and start like analyzing yourself, your performance, your acting, your the game that you are playing? Are you enjoying the game? Does it show that you're enjoying the game? Does it not show? Are you interesting enough? Are you funny enough? Everything, everything. You are your own learner. And it's easy for someone else to say, "Hey, you did this bad," but that doesn't mean that everyone else thinks that that is bad. So don't listen to anyone else. Listen to yourself and really be critical towards yourself. Don't if you think that your voice sounds bad, try mixing it up. Try doing something. Maybe sound a little bit more energetic or maybe sound a little bit more tired. Experiment, practice, try, test. That is what you have to do. I am an introvert person like hell. This is not natural to me at all. Not at all. So I have done a lot of practice, and sometimes on my streams I show one of my first videos, and it is so freaking awful. Everything from how I talk, from my presentation to how my microphone sounds, everything. It's just awful. And I'm actually proud looking at me now, what I have become from just learning from myself. You have to learn from yourself. You learn from your mistakes, but you have to make those mistakes to learn from them, or you're just gonna be stuck in the same. Yeah. That would be my best tip. It's many people
Failure.
say that just do it, but really analyze yourself. That is the key.
Yeah. Changes are incremental, of course. When you look back at your older content, sometimes it's difficult to figure out the path that you took to get to where you are now. But when you break it down, it's you looking at yourself thinking, let me try this instead of that. Let me try this instead of that. And over time, your format changes. The true is, it's true of our show. You know, when you look back at our initial episodes, understanding exactly what you're saying about being an introvert as well. You know, this is the reason why I tried being like this. Never used to be. Used to be like this, chatting.
Yeah.
Some guy left a YouTube comment on one of our previous thingies saying these hosts lack charisma. He said they're so boring to watch. Now, you can either take that as I'm shit, let me give up now, or you can take that as a challenge to improve yourself.
Yeah.
An opportunity to find the positive in it. The way that they said it was rude, but maybe the information that they're trying to convey to you is correct. Maybe you do need to improve upon yourself and that sort of thing. And you do find that over time you evolve into the person that you wish that you were at the beginning. It takes practice. It takes evaluating yourselves. So it's very, very true. You know, as a fellow introvert, I understand what you mean by you've got to put that performance on for the camera.
Yeah.
Medium is just laid back, cool, and you know, he just lets it flow and that sort of stuff. The sex appeal just oozes through the screen, and he doesn't even have to say a word.
No.
Yeah. Some of us don't have that talent, mate. Some of us don't. Yeah.
Very true.
So
Very true.
appreciate the feedback because it's very true. And I'm the reason why I said that is basically to back up what you just said.
Yeah.
That's how you improved yourselves, and we, the show, Quad Damage Podcast, are an example of taking that advice that you're giving and saying it is true, and you should listen to it.
Yeah.
I found out who our next week's guests are then for the question. It's Mandalore. Mandalore's coming back. Mandalore Gaming. Big boy Mandalore, and joining him is Ruby Ranger. Yeah. A fellow multiple guest that's on the show.
Definitely the points leader on that.
Nice.
I absolutely love Ruby Range. He has such personality. He's such a laugh to talk to as well. So it's fantastic. So Medium, I'll leave it with you then. Ask away.
What have we got here? Alrighty. Get this in front
Jolly
of me here.
good.
Jolly good. Capital. All right, of all the upcoming shooters, which one would you like to work with, and what would you like to help with specifically? What aspect of design?
Elmugu's a dev, so he asks, you know, a dev's perspective. Yeah.
I'm really not that knowledgeable when it comes to the whole development process of a game. Like I know the core and I know the basics, but I don't know any coding or I don't know any Blender stuff or things like that. But what I would like to the position that I would like to have is like, is it called game director? When you direct the way that the game is going to take, you
Yeah, it's
help
like
in
film
pretty much
director,
all
same thing.
aspects. Yeah.
Yeah. You're
I think
essentially the head of the ship. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That is what I would like to be developing a game. And, you know, these are the weapons that we need to have. These are the way the story has to be handed out, presented to you. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to point fingers, let everyone else do the work.
Oh,
Uh,
right.
Yeah.
It sounds like you want to be an indie dev, Slim.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, in charge of your own thing, making, the Yaksho's doing it. He's making his own game.
I saw.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to be a game director because that's what you do. You're the one that calls the shots. And
yeah,
I know you're probably referring to, being a game director for the next, Space Marine game or something of that scale. But it starts with somebody making a game and then, being the one that's in charge, making all of the decisions. So I say try it, man.
yeah. I mean,
I, I
there
don't
is
have the
also a
balls to.
reason for that. Why I say that, because I talk a lot to indie developers, and a lot of the time, I don't want to make a game on my own. Actually, I want to have a team with me, and I want to direct that team and the way that the game is shaping up and how it's going to go. Because all the indie developers that I talk to, they're like, I don't have time to play games. I don't know if this is good enough. I don't know if this is going to hold up. All the time I hear that. And I'm the opposite. What I do is I play games all the freaking time. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. And I would like to, direct it into the way that it works. If that makes sense. So this is actually a thought that I've had for quite some time. And the end goal is to make YouTube. I'm going to be a millionaire on YouTube and I'm going to fund my own studio and I'm going to direct the game. Yeah.
Well, that'd be fantastic. Some of the best games are made by gamers for gamers
Yeah.
because they know what it is. Yeah, but yeah, this is what El Mugu asked of you. So, in regards to our guest next week, then just finally wrapping things up, then what question would you have for our next guest, which is a roundtable episode with Mandalore Gaming and Ruby Ranger?
So I would ask Ruby, what is his favorite old school shooter? Because I know he's played a lot of the old goodies that I have
Yeah.
not played, and he knows me, I know him. What is the game that I have to play that is not, well known, like not Doom, not Blood?
Yeah.
One of the more lesser known ones that is an hidden gem out there.
Don't say Tech War, Ruby. Just
Good
Don't
lord,
say
man!
Tech War.
pick something else.
Yeah, I swear to God, man, I will slap. I'll reach my hand out the window and I'll slap you from here, Ruby. Jesus.
And for
Cool.
Mandalore, I would say I would ask. I would actually like to know, when did Mandalore start YouTube? When did he start his YouTube career? Maybe you have that question for him already. I don't know, but that would be an interesting question.
We would have asked that question when he came on for the first time, because with all
Uh-huh.
first-time guests, we ask what their background is. So I'm sure you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get that answer if you were to watch it. However, it's a good question, and we would like to ask that to him in person. So
Yeah.
as well, just to get his feedback on it. But yeah, that's fantastic. So I believe actually that we may have come to the end of our recording. Are there any further questions? I don't have
Let me
the
ask a
scripts right
clarifying
now.
one, Zlim, for that one on Mandalore,
Mhm.
just in case he's like, "What, you just mean like tell me the date and the time?" What I guess if we need you to kind of spruce up that question and give you like more of an interesting answer, what would you say is like the goal of asking like when he started? Is it just like to get an idea if that's like his goal? Does he do anything else, or
Yeah,
maybe his life focus
a
or
bit
something?
more like a background check, like you all, like you did it from me for me at the start. Like,
Mhm.
when did he start? Why did he start? And
Mm.
how he has had huge success. How
Hey, oh
how did
my
that
God,
happen?
yes. Yeah.
And
I
it's an interesting question also because I think a lot of people started during Corona, COVID, and blew up. Was that the case for him? I don't know. I actually have no idea.
I think he was big before
I
that,
know
'cause
the
I'm
answer,
pretty
but
sure
I don't want to
listened
give it
him
away.
back in 2018, 2019, if I'm not mistaken, back when I
Yeah,
first
he's
started
been up for
listening
years.
to YouTube.
Well,
But,
he was already getting millions of views by the time I even found. I think I found him through a Necromunda hired gun video, just because
Oh,
I'd
yeah,
bought
yeah.
it and was playing it. Him and G-Man put out, and I was like, "Who's this Mandalore Gaming dude, man? He's like the biggest dude in the scene." Because
Yeah.
whenever you think of boomer shooter YouTubers, you think of your G-Mans and your Civies and your Under the Mayos and Trav, etc. But it's like Mandalore could take a video of himself taking a shit and it'll get 1 million views. The man
Yeah.
is just unstoppable.
Yeah.
yeah, his trajectory, like, you always, like, watch the Civi videos, and they kinda hang out in the 200 to 300,000s for a long time, but they're always trending
Yeah.
towards 1,000,000, right? And
Yeah.
Mandalore's, like, double that. It's weird.
Mhm.
He's literally, like, he's hit,
Mhm.
like, 3 or 400,000 within, like, what, a couple weeks or something, and it's just, like, he hits
Mhm.
1,000,000 without even trying. It's like every video has the same viewership just about. It's like, what is going on?
Absolutely crazy.
And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I think I asked him this in our interview with him the other time, and I was trying to figure out without, like, trying to blame it, because you don't wanna assume that your biases are something that you even think about, much less care about. Is it because you tell people what you're about to cover, like, you invest them in the process so much with that? Because y'all know that Excel spreadsheet that he has? Y'all ever heard of that thing? Like, he's shown it before, but he basically, I don't know if people can edit it, but they can submit, right? And so he'll be, oh, 20 people said do
Mhm.
Pray 2017 or something like that. So they basically have everybody voting for the next thing. It's not like he's choosing it every time.
Ah.
And, like, I know that's what sets him apart, at least in my mind when I look. I'm not sure if that's for everybody else, but it kind of makes sense if he's literally, like, performing for the people exactly what they ask him to every time. It's like, well,
Yeah, and the
maybe that's a
people is gonna
secret
feel
sauce.
involved in whatever
Yeah.
it
Of
is that he
course,
creates.
yeah.
He
That's
doesn't
an
sit there and
excellent
guess and
idea.
go, well, I hope they like this Pathologic 2 review, or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
weirdo
yeah.
game.
We started to do something similar actually with our memberships. So you can't obviously, Zlim, you have a membership, so you know the rules around it, but you can't do things like sweepstakes, and that sort of stuff. It's
Mm.
so we started doing polls,
Uh-huh.
and it was basically to give your suggestions on who our future guests were, because we wanted people to feel that they weren't just watching a show, but they actually had a personal stake in, what happened with that show.
Yeah, yeah,
Involving your community is the greatest thing that you can do to grow, really,
yeah,
in my opinion. And we're not like in the graph or something like that, but our graph is going up, and that's what matters.
yeah,
And a lot
yeah,
of that is the fact that we are very community based. It's a podcast. The whole point is that you are communicating with people as a thingy. But yeah, so
All right, everybody. Well, that's all, folks. Thank you for coming out for yet another episode of Quad Damage Podcast, the best quad dam podcast you'll find in these here parts. I'm Medium. You can find me at the Twitter on A Midnight Medium, on YouTube at Midnight Medium. If you're so inclined and have questionable taste, if you have a little bit better taste, you can follow this man right here, Robert, our co-host. Robert, where can we find you?
you can find me personally at RobbieApp80 on Twitter. You can also follow us on Reddit as well, Quad Damage Podcast. Obviously, you're watching on YouTube. And on Twitter, you can follow us at the Quad Dam Podcast as well. Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, where can we find the great ZlimBratSki?
You can find this bald man over on Twitter, ZlimBratSki, and YouTube, of course, the same name.
Cheer. Well, thanks so much for joining us, man. Again, congratulations on the speed run that you've taken to lapping all of us 3 or 4 times over. Very happy for you. Just getting to know you. It's not just like, oh, look, there's a shooting star. It's like, it's also like, we appreciate kind of what you've been just as a good pal to everybody.
Yeah.
And, just give you your props on that.
Thank you, guys.
Because it's
Thank you.
nice to see somebody,
Been a pleasure.
get there that isn't just like standing on people's shoulders or, taking the quick, putting clickbait out or something like that. So
Mm,
mad respect and much love.
thank you, guys. And thank you for having me on. It's been 10 times more fun than I even dared to think that it would be. It was super fun talking to you guys.
Pleasure's all
Pleasure's all
ours.
ours, buddy. It is, yes. It is. So now we're going to go pleasure ourselves. Yes.
What we mean
Nice.
is partying is such sweet sorrow. So until next
Yeah.
time,
Keep on booming.
Booming.